S to D.
Practice! Oh,
Yay!
Video! Woo!
Alright, we are converting fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions, and to mixed numbers, depending on what the problem is that we get. So this one is 0.5. We need to convert that to a fraction. So the 5 is in the 10th spot. So our denominator is going to be 10, and we're going to have 5 on top. So it's just 5 over 10, which we can actually reduce that fraction. 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 10 twice. So that actually equals 1/2 once we simplify. Okay, good. Next one, we have a fraction. We need to convert it to a decimal. So we have 3 over 10, and again, that denominator tells us what place the 3 goes in. Since it's a 10 on the bottom, a 3 goes in the 10th spot, so that means it's going to be right behind the decimal as 0.3. Good. Let's try another one. We have 0.6, 0.6. That 6 is in the 10th spot, so it's going to be 6 over 10. We're going to reduce. The greatest common factor between 6 and 10 is 2. So we divide by 2, top and bottom. We get 3 over 5, or 3/5. Good. Okay, on this link we are working with integers, and we have some negative signs in front of there as well. The thing that we really have to pay close attention to here is our parentheses. Okay, so the first number, we have -4. I'll rewrite it bigger so you can see it. We have -4 squared, but there's no parentheses. The second number, we have -3 squared, but there are parentheses. Okay, so that's going to change what we do. When there's no parentheses, we're going to square 4, which is 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then we're going to put that negative onto the 16. Okay, when there's parentheses, what we do, -3 squared, we do -3 times -3. And then we have like signs make a positive. 3 times 3 is 9, so it becomes a positive 9. Then we still have this other negative, which is subtracting. In between, we have to carry that down, and it turns into -16 minus 9. All right, so when we have parentheses, the negative is included when we multiply. When we don't have parentheses, the negative is added on to the end. Okay, then we end up with -16 minus 9. Using our addition and subtraction rules, we know those are like, so we add them together. On the side, I add 16 plus 9 is 25, and I keep the original sign. They're both negative, so the sign of my answer is also negative. I get -25. Okay, the next problem, again, we don't have parentheses, so we're going to do 2 cubed. The problem is -2 cubed. We're going to do 2 cubed, and then on the end, we'll put the negative on our answer. Okay, so 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. Then we take that negative, and we put it on to our answer on the end. So it becomes -8. Okay, now if there had been parentheses, we would have done -2 times -2 times -2. We would have had 1, 2, 3 negative signs, so it still would have been -8, but we would have included the negative when we multiply. Since there's no parentheses, we don't include the negative here. and we just put the negative on our final answer. Okay, that's a little confusing, but we have to really follow our parentheses and pay attention to how that changes what we do. Let's try another one. Okay, we have -1 to the 4th. So again, no parentheses, so we're just going to slap on the negative to our final answer. We're going to do 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is simply just 1, and our final answer is -1. All right, here's one where we do have parentheses. So we're going to include our negative while we multiply. The problem is -2 squared. So -2 squared, we're going to take -2 times -2. Let me rewrite that a little nicer. So we have like signs. They're going to become positive. 2 times 2 is 4. So my answer is a +4. Okay, had there not been parentheses, I would have put the negative on my final answer of 4. Since there are parentheses, I include it when I multiply. All right, on this problem, same thing that we did on the previous link, except now we have fractions. So it adds another step, but it's not too bad. So we have -5/2 squared. Okay, we have parentheses, so we're going to include our negative when we multiply. All right, so instead of just squaring the numerator like we did when we had whole numbers, now we're going to square numerator and denominator to get our final answer. Okay, so -5/2 squared would be -5 times -5. Since I have parentheses, I include the negative, and 2 times 2. -5 times -5, like signs, becomes positive. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 2 is 4. I reduce if I can, but there's no greatest common factor between 4 and 25 besides 1. So I leave it just like that. And it says an improper fraction is okay. I get 25/4. Okay, here I have a mixed number. Okay, adding another step, making it just a little bit more complicated. I want to change that mixed number into an improper fraction, first of all. So I'm going to rock around the clock. Do 2 times 5 plus 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I get -11 over 2, my original denominator, and now I square it. Since I have parentheses again, I include the negative while I multiply. -11 times -11. The bottom is 2 times 2. -11 times -11 is a positive 121. Like signs become positive. The bottom is 4. Okay, and 2 does not go into 121, and neither does 4. There's no greatest common factor, so that's all we can do. So we enter 121 over 4. Good. All right, -3/5 squared. Again, we have parentheses. So we include the negative when we multiply. -3 times -3 over 5 times 5. Like signs becomes a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 5 is 25. And I get 9 over 25. There's no greatest common factor between 9 and 25, so that's all I can do. So they're trying to make this look really complicated, but we just have to figure out if it's positive or negative. Okay, so it says x is less than 0, so that would make x a negative. So we have x over y times 7y cubed. So if x is less than 0, makes x a negative, y is greater than 0, so all the y's are positive. So I just have to count how many negative signs do I have. I have one negative sign, that's an odd number, so it's going to give me a negative answer, no matter what numbers those variables are. Okay, what is the sign of 3 to the power of 0 times 0 to the power of 26? Well, 0 to the power of anything is 0. Any number to the power of 0 is 1. Anything times 0 is 0. So my answer is just 0. Okay? 0 to the power of anything could be 0 to the power of 1,000,000, still going to be 0. If you have nothing times nothing, you still have nothing. So that's not going to get me anywhere. And anything to the power of 0 is always going to be 1, but we already have a 0. So when I multiply, it just equals 0. Okay, another one that they're trying to make look really complicated for us. X to the power of 59 over 2.3x times 4/5. Okay, now it says x is less than 0. All right, so I have a negative number here, and I'm going to put parentheses around it because the number itself is negative. So if I have a negative number, and I actually have 59 of them, how many negative signs would that be? Well, I would be doing negative x times negative x times negative x times negative x. I would do that 59 times. So all of this is actually 59 negative signs. And then I have one x on the bottom, which is going to become negative if x is less than 0. So I have 59 up here, 1 on the bottom. How many is that total? Well, that's 60 negative signs. Is that an even number or an odd number? 60 is an even number. If I have an even number of negative signs, it gives me a positive answer. Okay, we learned that in our notes a few weeks ago. If you have an even number of negatives, it's positive. An odd number of negatives is negative. Okay, another trying to make it look complicated, and then they throw in a number line. So we can see that A is 0, B is way down here. It's going to be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's pretty much negative 6. It's pretty close to that. Really, all we need to know is the sign, that it's negative. Okay? Because when I plug that into this problem, I need to count again how many negative signs do I have. So A is 0. I have 0 to the power of 14. 0 to the power of anything, like before, is 0. When you multiply by 0, you get 0. So I don't even have to go any farther because I have a 0 in the problem. I'm multiplying. Everything is going to equal 0. And I'm done with that one. All right, this last practice link deals with dividing by 0. So whenever you divide by 0, your answer is undefined because you can't take something and divide it into 0 pieces. It's not possible. There has to be at least one piece. So whenever you divide a number by 0, our answer is just undefined. Okay? So it says, which of the following expressions are undefined? This one would just give us a negative 1. Here we're dividing by 0. Can't do it. And here we're dividing by 0. Can't do it. All right? You can take 0 and divide it into 8 pieces because you just still have 0 in each piece. So that would just be 0, but again, dividing by 0, can't do it. Dividing by 0, can't do it. Again, 0 divided by 3 is okay because each piece would have 0. But we can't divide by 0. We can't divide by 0. That's it. Okay, another problem. We have to do a little bit of simplifying. On the bottom, 8 minus 8 is 0. We're dividing by 0. Can't do it. Here we have a 0 on the bottom. Can't divide by 0. Doesn't work. Here, 2 minus 2 is 0 over 8. You can take 0, divide by 8, but we cannot divide by 0 or divide by 0. There. Alright, same thing here. This one gives me 1 over 0. This one gives me 2 over 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. And that one has 0 on the bottom already. So all three of these are undefined, dividing by 0.